Hello, and thank you for joining us again for Hidden Treasure Bible Study. I'm Pastor Steve Meyer. This is Dr. Sam Gipp. He is an evangelist. He's with me today instead of Brother Dan, as you can tell. And Brother Dan is working and is a good man, and we're thankful for Brother Gipp being here with us in his place today. But I wanted to talk to Brother Sam. He's doing a revival here for us while he's here. I thought I would take advantage of him being here. And I wanted to, first of all, Brother Sam is a great author, and he's got a bunch of books that he has authored. And of course, he carries a bunch with him that he didn't author too. But tell us about some of the books you got.
Well, three of them. This one is called An Understandable History of the Bible. It's actually the first book I wrote. I think it was 1987 or 88. And it is what it says it is, An Understandable History of the Bible. In fact, last night, a lady in your church said that she read that. She'd read some things about the Bible, and it was a little kind of deep or dry or hard to read, and she said she read this, and it was what the title said, Understandable History. I say it this way, if you don't want to read a lot of books about the Bible, if you don't want to, I've studied this for 45 years and read hundreds of books, but if you want, I call it a single source. This takes the Bible from absolutely no Bible whatsoever to when the Lord began to communicate to man, to the Bible that we hold in our hand. And it is just a general history of the Bible, but it would leave you very knowledgeable if you had it. So that, I think there's probably, I think it's in about the 6th or 7th printing. It's in the 5th printing, I'm sorry. So that one is, this one is called Fight
Yes.
On.
We've talked about this one before
Yep.
a little bit on our program.
And this is simple stories. They're not survival stories. I tell folks you can survive by just washing up on a shore. This is people who were in very dire straits, maybe could have given up, maybe should have given up, and just chose to fight on. I appreciate anybody that keeps on going.
Yes.
Most of the stories are about one page. I think this one looks like it's going to be. It's all of 2 pages. This one is 1 page. They cover any war situation from, let's say, the Napoleonic Wars to what's going on in the Gulf right now. But it's not just about military or war. It covers earthquakes, shipwrecks, train wrecks, plane wrecks, floods, natural disasters, animal attacks, bear attacks, just people. There's one, a fellow got attacked by a grizzly bear, and he killed it. But he said, I thought I was blind. And he said, then I took my scalp and I put it back on my head and then made his way back to his camp. And he just kept on going. So there's 2 volumes of this. This is Fight On. And then there's more Fight On. And actually, just yesterday, I've been working on Fight On Volume 3. This one is called Living with Pain. I always have to explain to people, my wife did not write this. That's because you can tell it's entirely too thin. She's working on a 2-volume set called Living with the Pain. But in 1973, I'd just been out of Bible college for 3 months. I was in evangelism at that time, working for a saved fellow building houses. I fell 2 stories, broke my neck. My doctor he just never looked at the x-rays. It was very plain on the x-rays. He didn't look at them, sent me back to work. I worked for 2 months with a broken neck, almost 3 months before they fused C6 and 7. They went in here in 1973 on this side. Then in 2008, they went in and took C5 out and put a titanium cage and a plate on. In 2013, they went in here, did some work on the right arm. I tell folks I got 1 spot here they haven't cut, and they want to do 2 more surgeries. We're going to hold out for more money. But
They're bidding for
this one has been a help to people that deal with pain. A lot of folks have either physical or emotional pain. I've had a great many testimonies that it changed the way people look at their situation. One of the things about it, there's a chapter in here for people who are in pain, to not overlook what their spouse goes through. A lot of people with pain, it's like it's all about me. The whole world has to, stop turning because of my pain. And they overlook, my wife has felt my pain for 40-some years because of this. And so that is there. And then there's a good chapter on salvation. So those are some of the books I've written, and they've been a help.
How many books have you written altogether?
30.
30 books, okay. Now, one of the things that we've offered before is this book called We Are Americans, has various quotes about the Founding Fathers. and different issues, just things about how we came from America. We've offered this before, and it came from Brother Gipp as well. And we have here at our church right now, he has a bunch of bumper stickers. And you were saying the other day, I think, that can you get these still on?
Yeah, my
Daystar?
printer won't reprint them. They're too right wing for him. But,
Yeah.
But we still got the supply. Yeah.
One of them says, "Spank your child, or they'll grow up to be a Democrat." And that tells you a little bit about the political correctness of these. The other one says, "The Bible makes the best people in the world." You know who said that? Thomas Jefferson said that. There's how many of these? 25, 30 different ones? How many?
There are, I believe, 45.
45. And there's just different ones. This is all from Brother Gipp's work here. And also, is this on Daystar Publishing?
Yeah, I was going to say I have a company called Daystar Publishing. If you go online, Daystar Publishing. There's a Daystar Ministries we are not associated with, a television ministry, but there is daystarpublishing.com. And then also, if you go on YouTube, just do a search for Sam Gipp. There's a channel. We have a channel, and there's some teaching, preaching,
Right.
and production videos.
Okay. Now, let me just say this before you go on the internet and search for Sam Gipp. Brother Gipp has been a very controversial man here because of his stance and his we take as well on the King James Bible. Now, there's a lot of people who have Bibles out there, and they don't want to know much about this subject, but I'll tell you, there's a lot to know. There's a lot of things that have happened about this subject, and that's why we take the stand on it. The truth is very obvious for anybody that wants it. But I tell you, the other thing is, everything on the internet is true, as we all know, right? If you go out on the internet and just search for Sam Gipp, you'll find everything that's out there, and there's a lot of enemies that attack him as well from a biblical perspective. But one of the things I wanted Brother Sam to tell us, there was a situation where you were on an interview with the John Ankerberg show. Mm-hmm. Tell us what happened there.
What happened actually 21 years ago? It was in 1995, July. We did 8 programs for John Ankerberg. Now, let me preface this. You know, there's a book out there that says that some of the translators of modern translations, while they were doing that, lost their voice, went crazy, died. I don't make that charge. It is true. I think it was Kenneth Taylor lost his voice when he was doing the Living Bible, and he went to a psychiatrist, and the guy said, "This is because you feel guilty because you tampered with the Bible." That's pretty much historic fact. I don't make a big deal about people dying or losing their voice during modern translations because I don't know that it's happened.
Right.
But the point was made, and we had there, you had 8 people. You had John Ankerberg, if you could see, like sitting as though at a long table. We were not at a table, but John Ankerberg was here. And down the right side was Kenneth Barker, head of the NIV committee, James White from, I think, Phoenix. Next to him was Art Farstad, Dallas Theological Seminary. I believe he's with the Lord now. He was the head of the New King James translation. And beyond him was Don Wilkins, and he was working at that time on what is now the new Internet American Standard Version. And Ankerberg asked those guys, these 4 are immaterial to this, he asked Barker, did anybody go crazy, die, lose their voice while the NIV was being translated? No. He asked Art Farstad, no. He asked Don Wilkins, and as Don Wilkins answered, his voice tapered off. And he went, "I've lost my voice." And you know, and they shut it off, and he took a drink of water, and then they retaped it. And some of the King James Bible believers made a big deal out of that.
Right.
Look, it was Chattanooga. It was July. I remember it was a heat wave. It was 95 degrees outside. We were 8 hours under television lights.
Right.
But they made a big deal about the fact that he lost his voice. Well, then on the other side, Ankerberg and Company came out and said, well, he never lost his voice.
Right.
But he did. He did. In
Yeah.
fact, he's the one that did it. He said it. He said, "I've lost my voice." So, you know, I didn't say he did it. He did it.
Right.
But it was just a matter of he took a drink of water. He's fine.
Right.
He did, again, later go raspy. But, you know, I have a problem with my vocal cords from
Right.
these surgeries. And,
Sure.
I don't make a big thing about them. But, yes, he lost his voice. And whether they deny it or not, doesn't matter. He did.
It happened on television there. Now, Brother Gipp has been a missionary to some degree, an evangelist across the world, across the country. And, you know, he's been doing this for what, 30 years, evangelistic work?
Yeah, preaching for 45 and evangelism for 30.
And he's seen a lot of stuff. And one of the reasons why this was kind of an interesting interview to me is even this last Sunday in our newspaper here in town. This is from the Enid News and Eagle, and I'm not sure what page it is. Let's see here if I can turn it up the right way. This was on page A4 at the bottom. There is an article that says painful historic political fault lines emerge in American evangelicalism. Now, you know that I've made some statements about this if you watched our program. The word evangelical does not describe Bible believer. Evangelical has described a lot of things, but this article is about a big fight that's going on, especially amongst the Christians, or quote-unquote Christians, regarding the political work that's going on right now with Ted Cruz and Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, different ones in the presidential race going on. And there was an interview with a fellow at the Wesleyan University, and he made this statement. He said, quote, "Anyone who has argued the merits of a government takeover of banks, student loans, the auto industry, and health care is not on my side. Anyone who has been on the cover of Playboy and proud of it, who brags of his sexual history with multiple women, and who owns strip clubs in his casinos is not on my side. Anyone who ignores the separation of powers and boasts of making the executive branch even more imperial is not on my side." Now, that's his attitude was, no, Donald Trump's not going to come talk at our university. But he took fire from the Donald Trump crowd. He took fire different ways. But here's the thing that's going on. They're seeing the evangelical bowl of Christians, so to speak, is being split down the middle. And I wanted to ask Brother Gipp regarding this article and regarding just the idea across America. What is the state of Christianity? What are you seeing? Even in Bible-believing churches, What are you seeing?
Well, I see this, but this is looking, he's taking and calling evangelicals, he would probably throw us in there, Bible believers. And he's missing the big picture. The big picture is that this is true across the country and around the world. The Bible talks about the last days, they'll not endure sound doctrine. There's a spirit where people don't endure sound doctrine. I'll give you an example. The first 5 years out of Bible college, I was in evangelism then, 73 to 78. And if I asked 10 pastors, what's the big problem you have? I'd get about 8 answers. I would get, the last guy left the church in debt, the economy, the local economy's down, there's more churches in town for people to go to, whatever. And maybe 2 of those guys would say the same thing, but I'd get about 8 different answers. Today, if I asked 10 pastors, they would say this: I can get people saved, but I can't get them in church, and I can't get my people to do what they should. Now, probably 10, 15 years ago, and that's how long this has been going on. About 10 or 15 years ago, I was in Australia talking to an Australian pastor, King James Bible-believing pastor. And I said, "What problems do you have?" And he said, "Well, Australia's a different country. Our culture is a different culture. Our problems would be different than they are in America." I said, "Yeah, they would. What are they?" He said, "Well, I only have 2 problems. I can get people saved, but I can't get them into church. And I can't get his exact words, and I can't get my people to do what they should."
Right.
And that's when I realized there's a spirit around the world. All right? Now, set that aside, but the concept of being a spirit around the world. It may seem like this is not connected, but Americans have been taught we are not split. We are not broken. We are splintered.
Right.
Nationally and worldwide. I went into, and again, you may not think this relates, but it's the spirit. Everybody's been taught that they are important. I have the T-shirt, it's all about me. I was in a grocery store, and I challenge the folks watching. Go into a grocery store, go to the soft drinks, count how many different kinds of just Coca-Cola. I stood in a grocery store one time, and there were 24 different kinds of Coca-Cola, not soft drinks. I went to the pharmacy side. There were about 12 different kinds of Crest toothpaste. So you could have 7 people in a family all drinking Coke and nobody drinking the same thing. Everything is designer. I have to have my kind of Coke. I have to have my toothpaste, to have my kind of coffee.
Right.
Well, that is a spirit that permeates our world
Yeah.
and our country. So all this is kind of just the residual. This is just a small segment of the
Right.
major problem. The oldest military strategy in history is divide and conquer.
Right.
And the United States are really no longer united, any more than the people are around the world. Therefore, everybody, if you found people that were behind Donald Trump, if you found people behind Ted Cruz, even the ones behind Hillary and Sanders, I will guarantee you they would disagree on some minor point and not fellowship.
Right.
Because there is a spirit, a schismatic spirit, a spirit of I am going to be separated from everybody. Nobody is as right as I am. I've got it down right. And that spirit is around the world. It is across our country. That is just a small example of it.
Right.
And so the political arena, it's showing up very prominently. But I'm going to tell you, our country right now was indeed founded on the Bible. You know that.
Right.
The only thing holding our country together is the residual Christianity.
Right.
As a nation, we've turned away from God. We've turned away from the Bible. But there is still that leftover residual Christianity that is keeping a bunch of people who are very different from killing each other.
Right.
And if that ever is removed, this is going to be the most dangerous place on the earth to live, because
Right.
it will be every 2 blocks you'll have a different roadblock and somebody be killing you for a different reason.
Right. It won't just be a revolution.
No, it'll be an absolute. The difference between a revolution and a civil war is a revolution is a group of people like we call it the Civil War. It was actually a revolution. It was a group of states that got together that tried to establish another country. A civil war is, all right, I say this, in Africa, the people killing black people are black people.
Right.
It's not white people, it's black
Right.
people. It's the wrong tribe.
Right.
In Bosnia and some of those places in Ukraine, it's not black people killing white people, it's white people killing white people.
Right.
You and I would look at 2 people and not see a difference. They see,
The difference. Yeah.
call it a different tribe. They won't say
Right.
tribe, but it's a
Right.
different tribe.
Right.
And so you'll have it down to where if you like this, I don't like that, and
Right.
and the only answer is off with their
It's
head.
almost like Donald Trump versus Ted Cruz, or Hillary versus Trump, or whatever in that respect. It's
Yeah,
become, yes.
and it showed what they did in Chicago. They say what they want about Donald Trump. Bernie Sanders, if Donald Trump or Ted Cruz's followers had showed up at a Bernie Sanders or Hillary speaking engagement and physically tried to stop it, of course the news media would have been on their doorstep. Trump,
Right.
why are your people doing this? Cruz,
Right.
why are your people doing this?
Right.
But let's face it, the news media is the propaganda arm of the
That
Democratic
is
Party.
exactly right.
And so it's kind of like getting mugged and then them saying to the guy that got mugged, you caused this.
Right. Because you walked down the street and you had
Yeah.
money in your pocket.
But that hatred, liberals hate free speech.
Right.
And nothing shows it more than that. The fact that free speech is not found on our colleges. They only trumpeted free speech when it gave them the opportunity to burn the flag and promote
Right.
communism
Right.
And atheism. But the fact is that no one hates free speech like liberals. Our Constitution was designed, our founders were so wise that they wrote a document 200 and some years ago that was designed to protect us
Right.
from the people who are running our colleges and
Right.
running the news media.
And it was
they're-
the First Amendment. That
Yeah.
was the first thing
Yep.
they were concerned about. That's
Yep.
right.
Yep.
Now, as far as the evangelicalism or Christians in general, what do you describe Christianity today like? I mean, yes, there is this residual group. Okay, that's the old-time Christian, the old-time Bible believer. But there is definitely a difference between the old-time Bible believer and the new Christianity that has come about through today.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm not talking just about, I'm talking about people who do love the Lord. But there is there's just like the attitude is different. The people that founded our country and the old-time Christians, they're a different breed of people than what you see in churches today.
Right.
What is that?
There has been a transition in the last 50 years from the foundation of this country. Because this country was founded on the Bible, it used to be that whether you were liberal, conservative, Democratic, or Republican, if you violated the Bible, you got in trouble.
Right.
If you committed adultery, if you did something that was immoral, you were in trouble. In the last 50 years, I say it this way, the Bible has been the conscience of our country. All right, it is no longer the conscience of our country.
Right.
And preachers preached the Bible.
Right.
And conviction came, and people saw, I violated the Bible. I need to line up with the Bible.
Right.
The preachers today in America are the news media.
Right.
The people sitting behind the camera, see them, the talking heads, whatever you want to call them. They are the preachers, and the news media and television has become the foundation. Today, people don't care if they violate the Bible, but they don't want to make the news media mad. They don't want to say something contrary to their message.
Right.
And so they have preached a value system. You get your values and your morals from your God.
Right.
We get ours, and our country got them from here,
Right.
the Bible.
Right.
Now they get them from their television.
Right.
Consequently, the major change for Christianity, evangelicalism, whatever you want to call it, in the past, the world that was without Christ, they believed they were here to enjoy life. Well, you're here only one time.
Right.
Enjoy it the best you can.
Yes.
Everybody had to have their little. Nobody even believed in a bucket list until somebody made a movie about it.
Right.
But you got to go enjoy this. You've got to taste this. You've got to see this. And while the world was there in the 50s and 60s, even 70s, Christianity at that same time said, we are here to glorify God.
Right.
We are not here to enjoy life.
Yes.
We hope to enjoy life. And who could not enjoy life in America?
Right.
But Christians believe they were here to glorify God.
Right.
Thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power, for thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure
Right.
they are and were created. Revelation
Right.
4:11. So you had two different value systems. The world thought they were here, I'm here to enjoy life the best I can. So it was party or travel or whatever. It wasn't all sin.
Right.
It was just enjoy life. Make the world one big trip to Disney World.
Right.
On the other side, it was, okay, enjoy where you live, but we are here to glorify God.
Right.
Now through the preaching of those preachers, the talking heads, the
Right.
television, even Christians believe they're here to enjoy life.
Right.
And they think because some of them are not going to engage in booze and sex and dope and what the world chases, they think they have a different value system
Right.
and a different goal, but they don't.
Right.
They think they're here to enjoy life. And they even think they've got an advantage over the world because God's going to see to it. I'm a Christian. God's going to see to it
That he
that I
blesses
enjoy
me.
life.
Yeah, that's right.
And so every morning, I say Revelation 4:11 basically says that we were put here to put a smile on the face of our God.
That's right.
And instead of getting up every morning and saying, what can I do today to put a smile on your face, even Christians get up and say, hey, here's what you can do.
To put a
If
smile
Christians
on
would
face.
listen to their prayers,
Right.
they can go for an hour, but it condenses to this. Hey, God, here's what you can do to put a smile on my face.
Right.
And they think they're here to enjoy life, and that's it. That's it.
And I think, that has contributed to a lot of people being very frustrated at God, frustrated with church, and bitter, because when life doesn't turn out the way they want it to, whenever, mama gets cancer, or daddy dies, or a child is in the hospital, or they lose their job, they look at God and say, why didn't you do this for me?
Right. Well, this purpose-driven church
Right.
has altered everything.
Right.
It used to be that the church was for God. When I got saved 45 years ago, I was long-haired, drunken, hippie. When I got saved, I cut my hair, I changed my clothes. You came to church and found out what you had to change
Right.
to please God.
That's right.
The purpose-driven, the church is not for God, it's for man.
Right.
What do you want us to do? Oh, you want rock music? We'll do rock music. You want
Yeah.
to drink? We'll drink.
Right.
God is not even in the
Yep.
parking lot.
I agree.
And so that's what's changed in Christianity. It's all about me. You know what I've seen in 30 years? You talk about books. I've written 2 Bible commentaries. No one buys Bible commentaries anymore.
Right.
30 years ago, it was, I love the Bible. I'm just going to read about it.
Right.
Now, that's not any different than somebody saying, I love cars, and I'm going to read about them. I love
Right.
hunting or sewing or
Right.
cooking. I'm going to read about it.
Right.
Now, everything that even in our churches, they say, what will this do for me?
Right.
They'll like the Living with Pain book because it'll do something for them.
Right.
They look at a Bible commentary and say, what's learning the Bible going to do for me?
Right.
And they're not interested.
I think some of the churches and some of the people, or some of the pastors, have said, and this is contributing to this evangelical movement, is let's get away from the Bible or what divides us, and that is doctrine. And folks, that's the first purpose of Scripture.
Yes.
Is all Scripture is given by inspiration of God, is profitable for doctrine. Let's get away from doctrine, because doctrine divides, and that's what they say. So we're just going to get around the same things we agree on. But the problem is Jesus Christ does not bring people together. He brings people that are looking for truth together, but people that don't have any use for God, don't want the truth, He pulls them apart.
Yes.
It puts a division between lost and who's saved. And if you love the Word of God, it will definitely set your mind in a direction that goes contrary to the world. And what evangelicalism has done is try to mesh the two together. And you can't do that. The Lord said you're either going to be a friend of the world or you're going to be a friend of the Lord, and you cannot serve God and mammon. It's a division. He said, I came not to bring peace but a sword, and put his mother against her daughter, and daughter against mother, son against the father. There's a division that goes on because of the Word of God. Now, Brother Sam is here preaching a revival for us. He's going to be gone before you see this program probably. But if you're interested in getting any of the books, you can go to daystarpublishing.com, correct?
Yeah, we have 3 websites. SamGipp.com records our ministry information. DaystarPublishing.com has the books. BigDealKJV.com has 7 production videos on the King James. And then the YouTube, if they go to the channel, those production videos are on there. There are some hour-long teaching on the King James, and then there are just some messages, some sermons that have been recorded.
Now, our website, glbcenid.com, links to the Big Deal KJV videos if you want to watch those. If you're interested in knowing the truth about the King James Bible, where your Bible came from, listen, don't be part of this normal Christianity. We need Christians to stand up and do what is right. We're coming to the close of our program. I'll invite you, come see us at Gospel Light Baptist Church, 1225 North Washington, Sundays, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. You're welcome in any way you can come. We'd be glad to have you. May the Lord bless you. Have a good day.